So to me, 5 element, first of all, is the first minute the persons come to the room, because there is something about the skills that are developed during 5 element training that made me, and I think makes anyone, very acutely aware of what I would say 1 minute diagnosis. And I'll give example, okay? With this lady, it's quite obvious. I mean, it's a true picture from the clinic. I only put some red on her glasses. Obviously, her fire is out of balance. Okay, I think this is, you don't need a 1 minute diagnosis. But you can see that somebody that will choose to dress this way is unusual. It means something about firing them is out of balance. And this is really, to me, the beauty of 5 elements, because it immediately opens something very deep about her personality and something about her strength, which is actually, to me, more interesting, and her pain, which is, this is usually why patients are coming for. So the idea of transformation, the idea of going into the strength of the person, understanding the depth of their emotion and spirit, I think is the skills that one is gaining through the process of studying the 5 element. So obviously she's a fire, or what we'll call a fire CF. CF means causative factor, but this is the root of her being. And I say root of her being because we are all born with an imbalance. I think this is, to me, the most sacred and interesting thing about life. You know, we are born with some imbalance, and all our life we are trying to balance it. And in the basis, there's 5 imbalances. It actually goes through 125 because there's 5 types of fire and 5 types of wood, and within it there is another 5 types. But overall, the most interesting thing is, what is this imbalance that we are coming to the world? And it's not just about the symptoms we are going to develop, but also our mindset, our inspirations, our goal in life. So this guy is another example. Obviously, he's not fire, so he is earth. And you can see, I mean, I chose very simple example, but you know, even like if you go tomorrow to your clinic, you will see the type of colors people are choosing, especially if they're unusual. Usually it will relate to the red imbalance. So he's wearing this kind of earthly colors, and you can see his body shape is Flemish, you know, he's a kind of, you can see the display of earth even before, even the way he sits, you know. There's something about earth, by the way, they always touch themselves and will talk about themselves, kind of, and about food and, you know, how they eat. If you ask them about diet, you know, this is it. There's never a simple answer, you know. Let's start talk about it and talk. In the morning I eat this, in the afternoon. So all this kind of, to me, I mean, being trained on 5 elements just immediately brings to life what goes in the patient's deepest imbalance, but also deepest strength. So with these 2 examples, you know, obviously, I think one of the root of every treatment is the 5 element, and within each meridian, we have the 5 antique points, or the 5 element points. They are the points that are actually expressing or having the nature, the heavenly nature of the 5 element. As we have the 5 element influences before the universe is created, right? So there's this 5 fundamental parts which are influencing Earth by heaven. And on humans, it's very obvious, you know, we have 5 fingers, we look like 5, we have 5 senses. So to us, 5 is the way we are experiencing the world, or we're, with our imbalance, the way we are experiencing the world from our imbalance. And this patient actually came with itching, she has very bad itching. That was the main reason she came. And she's a lot of difficulties in sleeping. She has hot flashes during her menopause. And she has this history, I mean, we'll not go into all the fine-tuning of being hurt. If you hear her life story, eventually I've been hurt here, I've been hurt there, I had this partner, I've been hurt, you know. So also, I think my training, if I want, you start to hear this kind of song. I think, Danny, you said it. You don't just hear the voice or the words, but you're hearing what they're like trying to tell you. So obviously in the sound of voice, but also in the story. It's not the words, but this feeling that are coming back again and again in different situations. So all this fits with this kind of deep fire imbalance. And I'm just demonstrating it with a point, and eventually you may use points that you will use with any other training, but they will have a different meaning. And I think Peter said correctly. I think a high-skilled acupuncture is minimalist. You use 1 point, 2 points, 3 points. We tend to be very specific at the point that you're using because you want them to be transformative. Means to treat the symptoms, but also to treat the mind and the shape. So when you see that the point can really touch all the 3 levels of body, mind, and spirit, to me, it's a good choice. Just to reduce water or reduce fire, increase water, to me, this is not the purest understanding of the 5 elements or the pure understanding of acupuncture and Chinese medicine. So I think 5 element brings back the deepest nature of treating the spirit and treating the people at their core and root. So in her case, I use pericardate. So obviously it's the fire point, but it's also the yin spring point. It's the point that is active during this time. And you can see that these points, which are yin spring points, are reducing heat in the body. By the way, it's one of the best points for itching generally, to reduce this heat in the blood. And because it also works on this heat that comes liver perica, drain kind of type of heat. And it has a very good effect on insomnia, and it's a fire within fire. So you're balancing the fire within fire. As you can see, she's fire all around. And with this other person, he has a lot of abdominal fullness, tendency for diarrhea, a lot of food issues. So it's like, but I think the deeper thing is that he feels stuck. He feels no confidence. He has this kind of a lack of support, or feel lack of support. And as a lot of time with Earth, you will find a lot of issues with the mother. So there's a lot of issues with his mother. She was actually a medical doctor. She was not at home all the time when he was brought up. So suddenly everything will tie in when you're trying to understand the symptoms, the person, and eventually use a point. So with him, it was spleen 3. So again, it's the earth of earth, it's a true stream point, and more important, it's the yuan source point. So it goes to the depth, to this kind of even natal aspect of earth. So it goes very deep because that's the nature of yuan source point. They're connected eventually to the yuan energy, to this basic energy in the body. And they have ability to alleviate dampness because it's earth of earth. So in the upper jaw, this fogginess of thinking is also like difficulty to concentrate. In the middle jaw, this fullness and problem in the abdomen, and also can affect lower jaw, not in his case, but actually had some joint problem coming in and out. So it was also related to this. So I think this kind of demonstrate, and to me, that's my daily clinical life. Patients come in and almost immediately I get a sense of where they are in a 5 element way. And that's why I think this training is invaluable. And that's why I'm thankful all the time that I was trained with 5 schools eventually. But this 5 element school is still remained to me the most important as far as the depth of understanding of what's going on, and to be able not just to help the symptoms, but to help people to transform. And obviously, if you look, everything is 5 elements. So we look at times, we look at the different elements and how the points are affecting the body. And everything in acupuncture and everything in Chinese medicine follows the logic of basically 2, 3, and 5. So it's yin and yang, heaven and earth, and the 5 elements. And if you get a good understanding of them, then to me, acupuncture unfolds, patients unfold. Understanding how to treat better gets more and more, I can say inspiring, because people really change, and within relatively not a very long time.